Volodymyr, so I pass it over to you. Having heard everything that you have, and I know that you are, that the topic of veteran care in itself is perhaps something you're not really friendly with, but you are extremely on good terms with the topic of reforming the system of service administration and making it automatic and making it based on evidence and on data. So any suggestions of what we need to do?
Of course, thank you, Lesia. I'm quite a different speaker. I'm not a veteran. I'm a software engineer, and it could be easily described by my T-shirt. And I'm a civil activist which developed a lot of IT instruments for electronic democracy and administrative services. Most of the people believe that the electronic democracy can fight against bureaucracy. And is it not far from truth? Bureaucracy isn't a bad thing in our life, but bureaucracy isn't best thing in our life, but Ukrainian bureaucracy, it's a real disaster. Could electronic services can change that? Could it make it better? And I think yes. And the answer in the lessons which I learned as a member of Prozoro team. First of all, what is Prozoro for today? Prozoro is the biggest in Ukraine open database. Prozoro is a world winner government, best in the world government procurement system. We have a prize from World Bank. And Prozoro is a story of success when the system was start building from scratch and build all components in Ukraine, from the design, software development, and finally have a law, separate law for the system. How we do this? How this story became a success? I think there are several important things. That's why we separate the data and the services. What does it mean? We give government permission to hold all the data, central database of Prozoro, but we split services and give them access for the business to access this data, work with it, but don't create the central government website for the Prozoro system. You can't apply for the procurement, for example, through the government website. Why it's important? Because typical government services, most of them are really bad, especially if it's IT services. You know how the government websites typically look, how it works, how it's slow, so sometimes ugly, and especially if you need some technical support, you can't receive it properly from any state agency. Second, we made this database absolutely transparent and accessible. You can see any information inside, you can work with them, you can analyze them. And a lot of NGOs are collaborated with central database, work with them, and can make own investigations and analytics, analyze this data, find some unsuccessful spendings, even corruption inside this database. Third, we tried to create new services based on this data, which is not exist before we can collect and show this data. What about data protection? Obviously, it's very important when you collect a lot of data. Now, the new general data protection rules are coming. But in Prozoro, we choose different model. We try to protect everything. We try to choose and collect that data which should not be protected from the special access. We create fully open database with open data. We don't need hide them. We don't need very complicity system to protect them. and it's made system much more simpler. And what about electronic democracy tools? It not only can make bureaucracy better, it's question about accessibility also. When we create tools for electronic voting, for internet voting, for civil councils of National Anti-Corruption Bureau or Ministry of Health, we receive a lot of feedback, a lot of letters from the people with some disabilities. They told us, now we finally can be involved in this process. Now we finally can access some services, some possibilities which we can't do before. So, and I think that's much more important, especially for veterans and veteran services. So, in a total, I want to say, try to collect as much data as possible. Open this data. Give access to this data to NGO organization, give them permissions to create own services based on this data. Try to split data layer from service layers. Please split back office from front office. Create service as simpler as possible. Don't forget about people with disabilities. And in total, you can create the best in the world system which can solve a lot of problems and can make our bureaucracy less worse, I think, and much more, and with much less corruption inside. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wish you would be, I really wish you would be saying, we will do this, we will make the best system in the world, and that you're part of the team as well.
I hope so.
Okay, so with that, I think we will close this panel, have a quick coffee, and very soon we're starting with our very last, but probably the most important panel, where you will have the chance to hear Ukrainian veterans and leaders of Ukrainian veteran groups. Thank you all.